Recording in progress.
Okay. Welcome. Hi, it's March 3rd, 2025, and this is the meeting of the Yarmouth Board of Health. Just one comment on how this is all being handled. As usual, people could be at home, zooming in, they can call in, or obviously be present here. If anyone needs any instructions, the website's great, giving the information of how to connect with us here tonight. As for attendance, Charlie, are you here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Larry, I'm Hillard, Mary.
Here.
And I know Eric is not, so we're okay to get started then. The first item, as usual, is the public comment. So if anyone here or from wherever they're watching or calling in from, this is your opportunity to ask questions, make comments. We welcome everything. Anybody see any hands up there?
We don't.
I don't yet. Okay, so that's a lull in comments.
Okay.
Okay, second item here on the agenda is the Yarmouth Low-Income Housing Lottery. And apparently it's Mary Wagan?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and you're the Affordable Housing /CDBG Program Administrator.
Yep, I'm aiming to add more words in there, during the next review of my job. But anyways,
Business card gets bigger, too. Be careful. Welcome.
thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Again, my name is Mary Wagan, and I help the town create affordable housing for our local residents. We've got some news, and it's just perfect timing that I was invited here. I'm going to give you a little bit of summary of the affordable housing program and then get into our lotteries. The town's affordable housing program aims to provide residents with an adequate supply of housing which is safe, decent, and affordable. We prioritize our resources, and that's our funding and our staff time. Excuse me. For units that meet the state's definition of affordable housing, so that they'll go on the 10% mandated goal for affordable housing for our town. And that affordable housing is defined as safe and decent, serves households earning no more than 80% of the area median income. So those are the words low, moderate income. That's where that comes from. The units are deed restricted by a legal instrument, such as a deed restriction or a regulatory agreement, and where the tenant or buyer is selected by an affirmatively, fairly marketed lottery. So just to give you an idea of the household earnings that qualify for this program, it ranges from $68,000 for a household of one, $76,000 a year for a household of two, $88,000 for a household of three, $97,000 for a household of four. So you can see if you have a household with two working adults, boom, you could go over that limit. So these are people that we know. These are people that we know in this community. Affordable home prices for a two-bedroom, it's about $235,000. That's the affordable price. Right now, our median sale price is well over that, almost by $300,000, ranging in the area of $500,000 to $600,000 for a simple two-bedroom ranch in town. So you see we have a serious affordability gap for home ownership. Rental is a little bit harder to peg just because we have a vast variety of different units in town. Theoretically, an affordable rent with all utilities for a studio, the federal government tells us it's $1,700 a month. But, just hearing that, that's too high. Really something that's not too expensive for our local workforce is a studio at about $900, a one-bedroom at about $1,200, a two-bedroom at about $1,400, et cetera. So you can see that we need to have resources to make these affordable units happen. There's a huge community benefit to have safe and decent affordable units for our local residents. It provides a stable workforce. We have healthier households because more of their household budget can be spent on things like healthcare and nutritious food. We have a stable student population that does better because they don't have to move as much, and they have better outcomes at school. And also, we can use affordable housing redevelopment money to get rid of those blighted properties in town. And how do we meet this need? Well, we have two committees that help out, the Affordable Housing Trust and the Community Housing Committee. And they work to create new affordable units. We're, for example, partnering with Habitat for Humanity on a neighborhood that will have 6 affordable homes at 1121 Route 28, right across the street from Town Hall, basically. We are also looking at the Matakees Middle School, the former site on Higgins Kroll, for the potential of affordable housing there. And the trust has issued an RFP to help a developer purchase a blighted property or an underutilized property to redevelop it into hopefully mixed use, right? Not just residential, but mixed use, residential and commercial with an affordable housing component. We also provide rental assistance through housing organizations like HETCH, which is the Howard Ecumenical Council for Housing, and Hands of Hope. HETCH also helps us with our home repair program. We do housing counseling right out of here at Town Hall. And we also do affordable housing planning. You must have heard about our housing production plan that was approved last year. And we do lotteries. And the reason why we do lotteries is that our town, like other towns, have what we call inclusionary zoning, where properties are redeveloped with X amount of residential units, and a small portion of those need to become affordable, and they have to count on the state's inventory. So they have to meet that definition for affordable housing that's set by the state. And of course, they need a lottery. Now, these lotteries can cost up to $25,000 a year for just one affordable rental unit. So what the Affordable Housing Trust decided to do was jump into the game, provide lottery services to help those scattered site units, the 1 here, the 2 here, the 3 there, get on the inventory. And that's what's in your flyer, your packet tonight, is this flyer for 2 Ready Renter lotteries that we're holding right now. One is for 530 Main Street in West Dennis. And this is just wonderful that I can announce this during this public session. It is in West Dennis. We do partner with surrounding towns with these lottery services. The developer does pay the lottery fee, which I propose is about 50% of what they would be charged if they went to a different lottery agent. But anyways, it's at 530 Main Street in West Dennis. It's a 1-bedroom. The affordable rent is $1,606 a month, utilities not included. So this application you can get at the Dennis Public Libraries, you can get it at Town Hall in Dennis, or the Town Hall here in Yarmouth, or through my office, 508-398-2231, extension 1275. Give me a call, and I can send you out the application. And that's due April 9th, 2025. We also have previous addresses that had previous lotteries that then draw on our wait list to fill any vacancy that comes up later on. And that's our Cape Cod Ready Renter general wait list. So that you have the flyer in your packet too. It looks very different. It's green, has a lot of words on it. Basically, the program has been in existence for over 10 years, and it services 70 units on the Cape. There are 21 in Falmouth, 5 in Barnstable, 30 in Yarmouth, and 24 in Dennis. So combined, there's 70, like 69, 70, and it needs this wait list for those units to stay on that state inventory. So again, that's the very similar application to the 530 Main Street in West Dennis. They're both due on April 9th, 2025. And if anybody needs a copy of the application, you can get them at Dennis Town Hall, Yarmouth Town Hall, our local libraries, or give me a call at 398-2231, extension 1275. And I would gladly send you out an application. If people have trouble with the application, filling them out, they can contact me. I can help them with the application and offer translational services into Spanish or Brazilian Portuguese.
I don't understand how the lottery works.
So, affordable housing has to be fairly and affirmatively marketed. So basically, right, the owner of the affordable unit can't rent it to somebody they know, right? So you have to advertise it. So you have to advertise it in the Cape Cod Times. I advertise it in a Chinese newspaper, Sampan. I advertise it, the advertisement, we get it translated into Brazilian Portuguese, and we run it in the Herald News, which is in the Fall River, New Bedford area. And then we collect those applications for a standard number of days, at least 60. Everybody applies, right? If you read the application carefully, you'll see that the application doesn't come back to me. It goes to Plymouth Redevelopment Authority. They're our lottery agent, right? So it's kind of like an arm's length approach. All the applications, I don't see them. They all go to Plymouth Redevelopment Authority. They check them to see if that household completed the application, seems to be income eligible. If they are, they get a letter saying you're in the lottery and here's your lottery code, right? So every household that's going to be put into the lottery gets a letter with a lottery code. That lottery code, it's usually a combination of letters and numbers, that's printed out on cards, literally mixed up, thrown into a box, and they're drawn like a lottery, one at a time. And so that now we have qualified or provisionally qualified households, right? Lotteried on a list, right? They're ranked on a list. So when one of these units comes open, right, we'll go down the list and we'll pick a household that will fit that unit, right? So we look at the very first one that was drawn. We see if they, for example, have the right household size, right? So would never put a household of 6 in a one-bedroom, right? So we match household size. And if it, the first person, the first group is like a household of 1 and it happens to be a studio, I call them up, I ask them if are they still interested, right? They get to go see the unit. The owner of the unit gets to screen them just like they screen any tenant. And then we do a final third-party verification of their income, and then they can sign the lease. So that's how it works. You create a wait list in an open, transparent, affirmatively marketed way.
But you said there's already other wait lists that were
When you get
generated from previous properties.
right, so when you have a new unit, you have to hold a separate lottery, and then that wait list is good for 2 years, and then it expires.
So then,
That unit then in out years gets serviced by the general wait list.
and tell me again, how does a property become an affordable property? I know how it does if they're building something new and the builder has to designate, et cetera.
Right.
But an existing property, how does that become affordable?
So usually, affordable units are required if you create new units, right? Or maybe there was a hotel that was being used year-round for housing, and really wasn't complying into zoning. So we would bring it into zoning compliance. And part of that, because they would get a little bonus on density, right? Sometimes on site design, we require a public benefit, and in this case, it's affordable housing.
Is there a goal for how many affordable housing units
So
Yarmouth
10%
should have?
of your year-round housing, that's mandated by Chapter 40B and the state's regulations that came out.
But we're not near that.
We're about half.
About half?
Yeah,
Okay.
4.96%. So we're at, let's see, I wrote it down, we have 615 units. We have a gap of 620. So, and I don't know if you saw, but Governor Haley put out a housing plan for the state, right? So for Cape Cod communities, the state wants to increase the number of housing units by 2.5%, right? Which is about 420 units. In the next 10 years. Our goal is to produce 620 units in the next 10 years. So we could do it. We could bring on 2.5% more if we enact our entire affordable housing program. We'll see. I think you're going to see, a lot of interest in redevelopment on Route 28 with the sewer ring. Just over the last 18 months, we've talked to, 4 developers that are very serious about going forward. We can use a Chapter 40B if we want. We can do a friendly 40B if we want. We really are promoting our local bylaws, such as our Village Center Overlay Districts bylaw, which allows up to 16 units per acre. Or if it's an older, underutilized motel, we can use the motel bylaw. That ranges from 18 to 22 units per acre, depending on the development. So we're encouraging developers. We're giving them the tools, right, that are viable alternatives to aggressive Chapter 40Bs. I mean, you hear about them in the press all the time, right? Units that I'm starting to call them mega housing developments with 300 units. Oh, we want something a little bit more reasonable. The 2 motels that we helped redevelop, right, was Cavalier into the Yarmouth Commons, which has 69 units. And the other hotel was the Yarmouth Gardens. That's in West Dennis. And that converted into 40 units. So that seems to be kind of like our comfort zone on Route 28. But right now, we're looking for mixed-use development. So you have a residential component and a commercial component. We want the commercial component to be towards the front on the first floor, so it still feels like a commercial building, and with residential on top of the shop or kind of towards the back.
Is there an example of that?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're working on it. So the Affordable Housing Trust, and when you go to town meeting, you'll hear every year we put in an application for funding. It's through the Community Preservation Committee, so it's in that set of articles. You'll see a request for funding from the Affordable Housing Trust. And the Affordable Housing Trust really wants to promote the Village Center vision that has been set by the town, the mixed-use developments with superior architecture and site design. Trying to close off those curb cuts on Route 28. Trying to keep, to the Cape Cod architecture. Nice landscaping, right? Parking in the back, that kind of stuff. If you want to get a real sense of that, Yarmouth Gardens is it's a tight spot, right? But it was really designed, 2 buildings, they're set off from each other to kind of soften it. That's why there's a little bit of parking in front of one of them. But if you really take a good look at it, kind of zoom out, you can see that the architect was really trying to make those 2 buildings look like single-family homes. You know what I mean? They were trying not to have it overwhelm Route 28. And that's 497 Route 28 in West Yarmouth. If you look at Yarmouth Commons, right, you can see the building that's the tallest. There are 2 2-story buildings and then 1 3-story building. You can see the 3-story building is the furthest away. It's kind of back, you know what I mean? We really tried to keep the green in between the three buildings as big as possible. There's those pavers for the fire truck to be able to drive up to one of the buildings instead of having all that asphalt there. They were great. They helped us figure out how to keep some grass in front of that two-story building, but still give the fire department proper access to that building. So in that area, you know, if you have a chance to kind of like drive by it slowly or walk down the architecture is nice. So that's what we're looking for, is superior architecture on Route 28. And we all remember what was there before, right? And we're, you know, you get points when you come to the Affordable Housing Trust, and you're looking for funds for something that's really a blighted or underutilized property. So fingers crossed, we can help with that some more.
Thank you.
In terms of design, how is the issue of disability accommodations handled?
So the Affordable Housing Trust and the Community Housing Committee don't have any regulatory power on that. It gets triggered based on the number of units you have, the subsidy source. So, for example, in Yarmouth Commons, which is 3 buildings, one is a 3-story. The 3-story building has an elevator. So they got money from the state, and the state said you have to have an elevator, right? And the first floor units are all universally accessible. I mean, I would have to check if there's ADA, you know, strictly ADA compliant units in there. I don't know if there's any units in there with a roll-in shower or anything like that. So that's one thing. Top of the shop gets to be difficult, right? Commercial on the first floor, residential on the top floor. So the Affordable Housing Committee has just updated its affordable housing standards. It's their policy, and we have to send them to the Board of Selectmen for approval. But they did address that. And so what they've put in there is if it's possible to have a first floor unit, they're going to be looking for it. Or if there's any way that you can have the affordable unit be universally accessible, they want that. Because they have an application in front of them where there's 8 units, and on every single one of those 8 units, the bedroom is on the top floor, right? And we didn't comment on it quick enough. The owner and the architect would have made one of the units a single 1-floor unit, you know, even a studio, you know what I mean? But we just didn't get there before the architecture was done. The owner was very, very nice and said that as they go forward, if the affordable unit was rented to a household with mobility issues, they would do the ramp to get into the unit and install a stair, like a chair lift on the stair. So they want to work with us to make that accessible as possible. There's another you know, redevelopment that is going to be a store on the first floor with 13 units on the top floor. So there's no room for that, you know. But if we put it in the standards and people read it up front, right, hopefully they do, then hopefully we'll get some accessible units offered. What I find is developers really, they want to hear what the town wants. They want to offer a product that the town's going to be proud of. So fingers crossed, yeah. But I'll let them know that you asked about that. That will make them happy. We're having somebody from the state come and talk to us about accessibility. I want to say it's DSS, but I'll have to check. They're going to come and speak at our next meeting on March 10th at 3:00. I'll make sure that you all get the agenda. You might want to tune in. The state has a program to find housing for people that have mobility issues. And they actually have money to make those reasonable accommodations in the unit. So we were talking about, the 530 Main Street in West Dennis. And they said, oh, well, if one of my clients gets that unit, would the property owner be willing to convert the bathroom to a roll-in shower? I'm like, well, let's talk about it. If that person gets picked first, why not? So,
So, Mary, this application fee, 25,000, who pays that? Who pays that fee?
so in Yarmouth, the Affordable Housing Trust offers a steep subsidy to our local creators of affordable housing. So what we say is, you have an affordable unit, you create an affordable unit in Yarmouth, you need to do a lottery, we're going to charge you $500 per unit. Done. And that's for the initial lottery or the out-year placement. Other towns, what they do is they have the developer pay that fee. That developer can go to their affordable housing trust in their town and ask for a subsidy. For example, Dennis provides grants to the developers of affordable housing to pay the lottery fee.
And how does the maintenance and repairs work? Is that the responsibility of the owner?
Yes. And I'd like to give a shout out to our health department. When they go and they inspect rental units, they pick up on things like that and let me know if they can see that it's an affordable unit, they pull me in, and we try to fix those problems right away.
Great.
I just probably don't have an exact answer for sure. I'm just curious about the turnover for people living in these units.
So it really depends on the quality of the unit.
Okay.
So some of these units are actually like half of a duplex. We have a small number of single-family detached homes. Those tend to never turn over,
Right.
right? Some of the smaller units that were created because they were motel rooms before, there's a little bit more turnover there. They can be inexpensive, but it's very hard to live in 350 square feet.
Right. Thank you.
And families change, too.
Families change. What's nice about our program is, like if your family size changes, you're not asked to relocate. You know what I mean?
As long as you can make do with the space.
Right. If your income changes, you're there. You were at low income when you got there, you get to stay. Some of the other programs, like the big buildings at Yarmouth Gardens and Yarmouth Commons, those are low-income housing tax credits. And that program is through the IRS. So there's not a lot of wiggle room. So if your household changes or you become over-income, your rent changes dramatically. So that's why I love promoting the local programs where we can be a little bit more flexible.
So local versus what? Local, what are you talking about?
These are created by local actions, our local zoning, a local subsidy.
Right.
We can get our local residents in them and keep them in there. We're a little bit more flexible.
But the bigger ones, like the Yarmouth Gardens, what is,
So they're very strict. Their tax credit comes from the IRS.
I mean, who's the one, who puts them together? Who's
Larger affordable housing developers that
larger?
deal with low-income housing tax credits. They sell the tax credit to people who manage their wealth that way. They get a tax break for X amount of years. After that, they can use their money, right? They can use that money tax-free for that time period, and at the end of that time period, they have to pay back all the taxes. But because they've had a tax-free period, I think it's 10 years, to invest and all of that, they're supposed to work hard so that they make more money than what they're going to owe in taxes. Yeah, they're like banks. It's very interesting. We're lucky to have them interested in the Cape, because a lot of places have very large apartment complexes. They'll only do large complexes, whereas we want something, 40 to 60 units.
So Mary, you mentioned the IRS. Is there any threat now from a new federal government or the new administration would that be in jeopardy? Would this
I
program be in
think-
jeopardy?
I think the program people are very concerned about is Section 8. So rental vouchers have been around for about 50 years through US HUD, Housing and Urban Development. And so I'm seeing chatter about that. They're concerned about people losing their Section 8 voucher. Maybe they won't be funded 100%. They'll be funded 80%. And people who are on the wait list, probably their wait time is just increased. But we'll see. It hopefully is something that won't get cut. So a housing voucher, a Section 8 mobile housing voucher is one of the most cost-effective ways to prevent homelessness. And it uses existing housing. You don't have to build new housing to use it. You bring your voucher with you to an existing unit. So when things are funded, people are on these wait lists get funded, and they come out with a voucher, and then they can go and find a unit and move in. So it's really an interesting program, but it is a significant amount of money. I couldn't tell you what it is nationwide. It's extremely popular, and that's for renters. The other big program that's very popular is the home repair program for homeowners that you can get through US HUD through a community development block grant. That's part of my title, CDBG, right? Or USDA. And that keeps people in their homes safely and prevents homelessness, because if your house needs emergency repairs, then you can't live in it, right? That's the theory. So the federal government and the state and towns have repair programs to keep people safely housed. There's also home modification loans from the state, which makes accessibility improvements for people aging out in their homes too. So if anybody out there is listening to this and needs this information, I'm more than happy to help them through that process.
How many Section 8 units do we have in town?
So you never really know, because the address of a voucher is confidential. What I can tell you is our Yarmouth Housing Authority manages 248 vouchers. Now, some of them might be in neighboring towns, but that can give you an idea of how many we have.
And a unit becomes Section 8 when the owner of the unit decides that that's how
No,
they
when
want
the
to go?
tenant brings it with them.
No, I mean, you can have the voucher, but if you go to an apartment complex and the owner is not going to accept that, then,
It'd be hard-pressed to reject a tenant just based on them having a Section 8 voucher.
really?
Yep. A Section 8 holder is protected from that. That's considered discriminatory.
So if,
So let's say I make a referral, right, from our general wait list to an affordable unit, right? Say it's one of ours on Route 28 in West Yarmouth. They can screen, the property management company or the owner can screen that tenant just like they screen everybody else. But if they reject that tenant, they kind of have to tell me why, right? And they can't say, well, I don't take vouchers. Well, that's not a reason. The state won't allow that.
if it's an affordable, but what if so if a Section 8 is only good at an affordable?
No,
You-
that's, you can't reject a Section 8 voucher holder solely because of the voucher.
So they kind of have preference then over other,
They're doing very well in the market right now. Because remember I told you at the beginning, our affordable rents still feel too expensive, and it's the people with the vouchers that are able to afford the rents because they have the voucher.
and the voucher is worth,
The voucher, pays the portion of the rent that they can't afford. So the federal government wants you to spend only 30% of your actual income on housing. So they look at what's your actual income, the tenant's portion is that 30% of their income, and then the voucher picks up the rest. Now, there's some affordability, there's some reasonability of that cost, right? So the voucher wouldn't cover a rent of $5,000 a month, right? They only cover rents that's fair to the local market. So there's some caps, but that's why we have housing authorities that do all that math for us.
So that's not in jeopardy, that, as far as the federal government?
That's what I'm concerned about. That's what I'm hearing chatter from people who advocate for affordable housing, that they're concerned that the Section 8 line item of the federal budget is going to get cut. They want other things to get cut, but before that gets cut, because so many people use it, and it's really very cost efficient.
in the past, I have heard people say that have Section 8, that they go someplace and the owner will say, we don't accept Section 8.
So the entity that administers that voucher should be notified of that.
Okay. And that's federal.
Usually
that's across
it's
the
your
country?
local housing authority or Housing Assistance Corporation. They administer vouchers. The town doesn't. But it's usually that regional affordable housing clearinghouse, which in our case is Housing Assistance Corporation in Hyannis, or your local housing authority. So the Yarmouth Housing Authority, the Barnstable Housing Authority, the Dennis Housing Authority. And they will, the holder of that Section 8 voucher will call up their housing authority and say, you won't believe what happened to me. You won't believe what they said. And then they'll decide whether that's a good move for them or not, right? Sometimes the property management company just needs some education and some extra support about how to use a voucher. But yeah, you are supposed to accept the voucher. But you can screen people the way that you screen anybody. The only time I've ever pushed back on that was that we were placing somebody from, that was homeless, and they didn't have landlord references, but they had the voucher, right? So it was like, so we talked the property management company into accepting that household, and knock on wood, it's worked out okay.
Anyone else, any questions?
Just quick, Mary, you can tell the boards, the number of questions and the the range of the questions. This can easily become a complicated process.
Yeah.
And I see you at the counter, or maybe even
Right.
at this table,
Yeah.
and walking applicants through that process. Could you just, for those listening at home, just slowly explain where your office is, and then,
Sure.
and your phone number, and how you can get information, maybe your website?
Sure.
Because it's a wonderful program, and typically, it can easily get overwhelming. There's some math involved. So if you could just explain to where your office is located, your phone number, and how you can be an assistance.
So again, my name is Mary Wagan, and I help with affordable housing here for the town of Yarmouth. And I do provide housing counseling for people. I prioritize our residents, of course, but people do call me from out of state, from other towns and cities, et cetera. My office is here at Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28 in South Yarmouth, and I'm on the lower level. You go down the stairs, take a right. I'm one of the last offices on the left. My phone number is 508-398-2777. 2231, extension 1275. And my email is first initial M and my last name, Wagan. So it's MWAYGAN @yarmouth.ma.us. We do have an affordable housing page on the town's website. What you do is you'd go to the website of the town of Yarmouth, Massachusetts. You'd hit government, departments, community development, and affordable housing. So you have to drill down a little bit, but my email is there, these applications are there, the links to those. Another really great resource is a database that the state has put together. It's called the Massachusetts Housing Navigator. So if you just go to any search bar like Google, type in Massachusetts Housing Navigator, you click the blue Find Housing button, and boom, you can see lotteries coming up, vacancies, wait lists, etc. That's a great resource. And these are on that website. And if you drop in your email into their email notification system, you'll get an email from them every 2 to 3 weeks, and you'll never miss another lottery in Massachusetts. So,
Very helpful.
Yeah, all your contact information's on that page as well.
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
Thank you. I had no clue the complexity of this.
It's very complex. You did very well. You did very well. And that's why, I mean, when I started here, there was a very aggressive Chapter 40B. And that's, I think, why the town, we were able to stop that aggressive Chapter 40B, which was literally in the middle of our industrial park. I mean, literally in the middle of it. And that's why we really put a lot of resources into the affordable housing program. At about year 5 or 6, I really started, I was the assistant to the director of community development. I didn't do this beforehand. But it was there was such a great demand for our affordable housing program that eventually that's all I did. And now my title matches what I do. And it's my pleasure to, help the town create that. And what's really nice, we were one of the first towns to have a full-time affordable housing person. All the other towns are coming on board. They're all either have a part-time or a full-time staff person dedicated to this. We meet monthly through the county's regional housing office, resource office. Renee Hammond from the county, you'll meet her. She has organized that with Barrett Planning. We're using that ARPA money to fund that project, and it really is bringing us all together to work regionally too. So we're on our way.
Great.
I have great hopes.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Very helpful.
For doing what you do.
Yep, and I'll send you the link to the Housing Committee's meeting when that gentleman is coming to talk to us about accessibility.
Great.
Great job.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye now.
Great job.
Okay, that was informative. Wow.
It was.
Okay, the third item here is nutritional awareness. It looks like this is Diana Kane from the Yarmouth Senior Services, and Diana apparently is the director.
Online.
She was online earlier. Diana, if you're still there, you can jump on now.
She's at the top.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Dr. Bosky, Board of Health members, and thank you to Jay and Barry for inviting me to speak. My name is Diane Kane, Director of Senior Services, and I've been asked to do a brief presentation on senior services and what key programs and services we offer to the elders in our community, as well as the nutritional programs that our elders can take advantage of. At Senior Services, we advocate for basic rights for our elders in our community, such as right to dignity and respect, quality services, safety and security, independence, and right to advocacy. I believe that you've been given a brief snapshot of what some of the services and programs that we offer. However, I would like to touch on a few specifics. We offer opportunities for people to come together and be social. For example, our Coffee and Conversation group, led by our beloved staff member, Karen LeBlanc, where she and her engaged group discuss current events. We have a healthy conversation group where people come in to discuss social and emotional needs with our social worker, Linda Colby. Linda provides them with tools on how to deal with conflicts that arise and how to build healthy communication style, leading them to healthier relationships. This group, we believe, was a valuable post-pandemic for people that felt left out and forgot how to communicate with others during the pandemic due to social isolation. In addition, we offer social activities for folks to come in and enjoy some musical entertainment, food, and socializing with others at least once per month. Coming up, we have the Spring Fling with a local band, Class Hicks. And as a promo to St. Patrick's Day, as DY String Ensemble will be playing Complete with Fiddles. I would like to spotlight two social groups that we are particularly proud of, our LGBT group and the Veterans group. Our LGBT group focuses on building relationships and camaraderie amongst the LGBT community, while our Veterans group enjoys many fascinating presentations as well as veterans benefits and services. With our Veterans group, we hold an annual Veterans Breakfast, which is intergenerational with the DY High School Band, led by chorus, the band director, Alex Pendleton, and Stephanie Riley, the choral director. Last year, we hosted a holiday get-together. Both of these events were fun and an honor to host. We have right now currently 17 fitness and yoga classes and 34 activities per week. Additionally, we have an average of 15 events per month. Several times per year, we offer presentations on scams to our elders with the hopes of keeping them safe and financially secure. We offer technology classes through Elder Services, Gadgets Made Easy, as well as Yarmouth Library's Tech Tutor, where folks can ask individualized questions during a private session. We offer blood pressure clinics, loans of medical equipment, hearing clinics, sight loss services, VNA-led bereavement group, a grief group, a hoarding group, and LGBT Life Changes group. We hold an annual health fair, and it is coming up on May 9th. We have invited over 70 healthcare vendors to come and discuss what they offer, and this gives our community an opportunity to have their questions answered, and we are providing some screenings. We have office hours with Selectwoman Liz Argo, State Representatives Kip Diggs and Chris Flanagan to discuss questions individuals have on local and or the state level. We provide AARP tax service for elders to come in and have their taxes done for free, and that's currently going on now. We have Shine services that address the health insurance needs of residents. We have legal services to assist with all sorts of legal matters, from establishing healthcare proxies, trusts, and wills to housing or benefits such as matters with Social Security, SSDI, Medicare, Medicaid, or long-term care. We offer a travel program with Karen Wendell, who takes exciting trips to museums, casinos, musicals, and plays, as well as Broadway shows and destination tours all over the world. A big part of the elder's life is independence when they can no longer drive. We remedy this by providing transportation to Yarmouth and Hyannis, and from Hyannis they can go virtually anywhere they need to go, such as Boston hospitals and or the airport. Elders call up and schedule a ride through our transportation coordinator, Susan Riley, and our friendly and dependable van drivers, Dan Mueller and Tom Barlow, will be out to pick them up and take them where they need to go. We provide aid with fuel assistance for home heating, tax exemptions, and tax work-off programs. If an elder is having difficulties making ends meet, they can make an appointment to come in and go over options with our outreach team, Linda Colby or Elisa Davis. We try to make it easy for people who do not have access to technology, and we provide copies and faxes, perhaps to a doctor's office because they are having surgery the next morning, and we assist with logging into the RMV website because they receive a notification in the mail and they do not have the technology skills to accomplish what is required. Now I'm going to get into finally nutrition. As far as the important issue of nutrition goes, We assist with several different options to address food insecurity that affects 1 in 3 older adults. Dining with Friends is offered at our center Tuesday through Thursday and is an opportunity to dine with others. Diners get a nutritional meal as well as the special social aspect of engaging with others. Meals on Wheels are offered through Elder Services and are delivered to the homebound people with difficulties preparing meals or have mobility issues. We have formed a partnership with the Family Table Collaborative back during the pandemic. Jenny Wheeler and Harry Henry created FTC as a volunteer community-focused organization whose main goal is to provide healthy, prepared meals to those who need them. They deliver meals to the center on Thursdays, and this fantastic program was created during the pandemic to serve the immediate needs of our community and continues today because of the crisis of food insecurity. Currently, they are working on a cutting-edge program that involves cutting the plastic containers from our landfills, and we will soon be introducing this to our elders, reusable, returnable containers. Another partnership that we organized last May was with the Healthy Meals in Motion program through the Family Pantry of Cape Cod. This has proven to be extremely beneficial to our residents as they can pick and choose from a menu of healthy food choices. Christine Menard and her team at the Family Pantry pick, pack, and distribute to our center on the 4th Friday of the month. Grocery bags full of food. This distribution is set up like a grab and go. People drive up in their cars, pop their trunks, and we place their food into their cars, and they are on their way. This discreet, no questions asked process allows the seniors a private way to pick up their food. To sign up for this wonderful program or to inquire about any of the other programs, contact a member of our outreach team. Several years ago, we established with the Yarmouth Food Pantry senior hours. They're on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month from 10 to noon. Their mission is to fight food insecurity in our community. Sue Martin and her team of fantastic volunteers are wonderful with the elders of our community. They assist them with every step of the way through the pantry and get to know regulars' wants and needs. Transportation is provided to the pantry by calling Yarmouth Senior Services Transportation Coordinator, Sue Riley. The great thing about these two pantries is that participants can go to each pantry twice a month, which is equivalent to a month's worth of food that is individualized to a person's dietetic needs and is not the same as brown bag. That food is chosen at random and generally contains high levels of sodium. We have a bread and pastry donated by Stop and Shop on Station Ave, offered at the center Monday through Friday. Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center offers food for former military personnel and their family members. You have to bring a DD 214 to be eligible. Also, the Food for Vets is another option, looking to support veterans and their families, located in Sandwich. St. David's meal program here in Yarmouth offers free cooked meals to take home on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. Cape Wellness Collaborative offers those undergoing cancer treatments meals with delivery options available. First Baptist Church and Pantry serves fresh produce, perishables, and non-perishables to West Yarmouth residents. Coming up on St. Patrick's Day, we have a sit-down luncheon coming up and is an opportunity for people to gather and socialize over a corned beef and cabbage meal, some live Irish entertainment, and this is the first sit-down St. Patrick's meal since the pandemic, and prior to the pandemic was a favored program and was very well attended. Tickets for this luncheon can be purchased by coming into the center. However, tickets are going fast. At Thanksgiving, we offer a Friendsgiving celebration where those that live alone are invited to come into the center and enjoy a Thanksgiving dinner and some socialization with those around them. For Christmas Day, we organize names and give them to Our Lady of the Cape to receive a delivered home-cooked holiday dinner. In closing, many of the services that we offer to the elders are on a dedicated volunteer basis at a savings to our community. Questions?
Yeah, I had a question. Under activities on some of the activities, there's a number in parentheses. For example, tech tutor, it says, looks like Friday, and there's parentheses 3. What does that mean?
Okay, when we have a parenthesis, that means the number of the week. That's the date on the number of the
I see.
week. So
Okay.
that would be the third Friday at 9.
Sure, thank you.
How do you foresee changes if indeed we see benefits reduced for Medicare?
That's going to be a tough one, Hillard. We really hope that it doesn't happen, but if it does, we're ready to deal with it.
Let's hope it doesn't.
I'm with you.
Dan, can you give the address and like the contact number for the people listening at home also, please? Thank you.
For the people, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
An address of the senior center and like a contact number if they want to reach out
Okay.
to you.
Yep. The senior center's telephone number is 508-394-7606, extension 1330, and our address is 528 Forest Road, West Yarmouth, Mass.
And what would the community find on the website? What would be there?
On the website, we have links to various community organizations and transportation, their telephone numbers for our outreach team, their telephone numbers.
Great, just trying to advertise for you here, that's all.
Yep. Thank you.
One question from what age is are these cutoffs? Is it 65? Is it 62? Is it 70? Is there?
We start our seniors at, it's technically at age 60, that it really doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
That extension again?
The extension is 1330.
Okay.
That will give you to the front desk.
Anyone, any comments, questions? That was great,
Thank you.
really.
Thank you, Diane, for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the work you do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, number 4. This is an update, and it's on the Cranberry Bog over on 16 Denver Drive.
Yes, so that'd be me. So last week I had a Zoom hearing with Plymouth Housing Court magistrate. They postponed it to today. Between last Monday and today, they postponed it again until March 17th. They're combining it with our case and the cases that the building and zoning have. So there's 3 separate cases. They're just going to put all into one case together.
All the same person?
It's the same owners, yeah. Instead of the courts, like mine last week was at 9, and then buildings was at 10. They said they just want to do it all at once and get it together. They are doing some work over there to remediate for the zoning and buildings. So hopefully they'll do what we've asked them to do for the septic, and we won't have to end up going to court. So, and I know Mary asked for the record, so this is I put a packet in front of everybody. This is all their stuff that they have for the court and the complaint and everything that was originally filed.
Oh, great, thank you, appreciate that.
Are the 2 brothers getting along any better? Or?
I do not know that. I apologize. So, from what I understand, your guess is as good as mine. The magistrate asked me. She said, "What's the time limit?" How long does this expect? Would you expect this to take to be remedied? When she asked me this last Monday, and I said, "Well, by the time he drove down from the Cranberry Bog to Town Hall, pulled a $40 permit, went back, started up his machine that was 10 feet from where the septic pit is," I said this whole thing could be done in an hour and a half, 2 hours. And she was very surprised. She thought it was going to be like weeks. So I think that's why they combined everything together.
Okay. Anybody? Need any more information on that? Okay. Number 5 here is green burial update.
That'd be me again.
Okay.
Once again, it's still in council's hands. We're still waiting to hear back from them. They're doing their due diligence, doing research and what they have to do to make sure all the steps are done properly. So we're just waiting on council to hear back from them. As soon as we hear anything, we'll let you guys know right away.
I just don't think we've done a very good job with this, okay? And it's just not how the Board of Health has handled things like this. I mean, this is, Mr. McCurdy, he's a resident in town. Elderly man, ill. He was represented here by his son requesting a permit, okay, for a green burial, which was new for all of us. We learned a lot about it. And that was, I think, in September of last year. And this has gone on and on and on. It can't be that complicated, okay? I just don't understand that part of it. And why don't you give me the name of the lawyer, phone number, email, and let me see if we can move this along, because I think they got it back in January. I mean, they're working for us.
January 16th, I sent it.
What date?
January 16th.
16th, great, okay, thank you.
They take a long time. I mean, we've had things go to them before, and it takes forever.
It's very well defined of what we've sent there. You know, it's not long. There's not there's a precedent, but not in this town, but this exists. That's all.
And all of federal and state regulations
So
are pretty clear.
that's just my feeling. I don't know, maybe, what do people feel? I mean, I can sit tight, we can wait longer, that's all. I feel badly, we have a resident in town who's put a request in for this.
Jay and I'd be more than happy to get you the council's information. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know.
Nor am I. I don't know if it's going to help or not, but I guess I'm just getting kind of impatient. I don't think it's unreasonable. That's all. Let them explain why it's taking so long. And maybe, you know, it's understandable from that standpoint. But this is going on for 5 months or whatever. And to be able to tell, you know, this person, you know, permit may be granted or denied, but something should be done to answer to the resident here in town. That's all. So send it to me, and no promises, but I'll try to see if we can get it moved along in some way. That's all.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. Okay. Minutes time. So it looks like we have 2 sets. One is January 6th and one on February 3rd. Did anyone have any edits, questions, comments, wishes, anything on the 2 minutes?
Just a comment, I would like a copy of the draft policy regulation. Okay,
For
for the burial.
okay.
Because that didn't come with, we didn't get that final copy, so, and I understand it's not, you know, stamped and, you know,
Okay.
all that. Thank you.
So you could just send it electronically?
Yeah, you
I
can
could
just
send
send
it
it.
electronically. I can put it in your packet for next time. Do you want it sooner than next meeting?
No,
Okay.
no,
So we can,
okay.
we put
Next-
the
next-
draft, it's still in the draft
That's fine.
effect, correct?
Sure.
Just so the board understands the process, and I think you all have talked about this. If it came back unedited, right, no recommendations.
Right.
You would then be setting a public hearing.
Right.
Hearing would that be at the next meeting? It would be voted, and then it goes upstairs. So there is a process to it. But I understand that's been 2 months of the 5, 2 months. But within 3 weeks of the board answering their questions, you actually had, and there were 2 iterations of edits. There were actually 3, now that I think about it. It has moved along, something new. I understand your frustration. I don't know if I completely agree. However, 2 of the months that we're talking about have been outside of our hands. There's nothing we can do in our part to motivate that. And the other part too is it was confirmed. The law firm did say, got it, working on it. That was the response. So it didn't get dead-ended.
Right,
I-
right.
But I know that. I can appreciate what you're saying. Is it unreasonable? I don't know. I don't know who they have working on it. But we can certainly get you the contact information, and we haven't heard back since. We're not sitting on it. We haven't heard back since.
Okay, no, once again, no promises, but let's see if something, that's all.
I move that we approve the Board of Health meeting minutes for January 6, 2025.
And how about the other set? You want to just do it together?
Sure, and I also move that
February
we-
3rd.
If there's no comments or anything, or corrections, I move that we approve the Board of Health meeting minutes for February 3rd, 2025.
Okay, thanks. And you're still seconding this? Okay. There's no discussion, there isn't? Okay, all in favor, accepting the minutes, both sets,
Aye.
that's unanimous, that's fine, done, okay. We're up to new and old business, certainly, certainly on the new front. Apparently, there's going to be some change in staff in the Department of Health. A lot of the public may not know, Jay, what's up?
If I could just tick down a few others before I get to the shifting. I
sure.
just wanted the board to know, because this is somewhat operational for you, for the board. The HHS grants, right, that's going to be coming due, those have been mailed out to the 13 applicants. You heard Diane talk about some of the Table Collaborative, the food pantry. There was probably 3 or 4 that she mentioned that you actually support financially. I thought that was interesting. Those applications have gone out. Additionally, there's a banner on the website for perhaps new social service agencies, faith-based organizations can go on and apply. It's a very brief, if you've seen that form, very brief. We do ask that they submit, attached to that, a narrative, a budget, a little bit more than, we try to make it streamlined. You have to scale the application with the amount of funding we're giving. We're not giving them 5- and 6-figure,
Right.
funding. So those applications have gone out. They'll be due back April 15th. It gives the board time to then through April and May to give presentations here. And then you'll do your deliberation and funding allocations will be done and sometime by the end of May. I would expect that to be the timeframe. But just know that those have been mailed, and it's also on the website. And this gives us an opportunity to talk to anyone who may be listening.
It's nice, the same money's still there this year, that's great.
60,000 is the same. Exactly right. But there's a process to that. And I think that was the most 13 organizations. That was tremendous. The other new piece is that the Plastic Reduction Working Group reached out to them to bring them together. Mary represents the Board of Health, and there's probably, if I'm counting in my head, probably 9 or so individuals from a variety of organizations: Chamber of Commerce, Recycling Committee, Board of Health, Select Board, and others. And they'll come together at the end of March to begin, I would imagine, a series of meetings, either in this building or at the Chamber of Commerce. I did forward them the citizens petition and also just a guidepost of what Falmouth has. There'll be others, and hopefully have something that keeps an eye on focus on getting plastic out of the waste stream, but also is achievable for the business community. So that went out, well, here we are Monday. I think that was the end of last week that went out. So that group is coming together. I just want you to know there was, and the thought being is that, well, we're going to commit to January of 26, and there was some thought that, we're just kicking this down the road. This isn't going to happen. That's not the case at all. That was never the case. I would envision that hopefully if this could be done by the fall, I would hope for September, and then there would be several months of community education for both the food industry and for residents to understand what the implications are on the plastic reduction.
So we'll hear about the date for that end of March meeting from you?
You won't hear that from me.
Okay.
I'm actually staying, and that's my next piece, but I'd like to stay on that because I'd like to help guide that. But I won't be the driver on that, but I
Okay.
would like to attend to make sure. I stood at a town meeting and I said this was going to happen. We're going to have something, and I'm going to commit to that. So that brings me to the next one. Is I'm moving on. Beginning of February, I actually sent something to all of you. Charlie, I apologize. You're not electronically connected. Beginning of February, I put in a resignation that I'm leaving this position. And through the month of February, there's been some applicants, and an offer has been made, and we're waiting to hear on that, on the recipient of that. And I am going over to the county as the health director for health and environment over at Barnstable County. But really, what I wanted to say was to thank you to all of you. I appreciate it, although my tenure was short. I certainly have learned a lot, but also it reminded me, because I have sat in this chair in my community up in Grafton as a chair of the Board of Health. And you have some difficult things that are put in front of you. You talked about one, Hillard. An individual has come to you looking for a request for an application. They have an ask. Sometimes it's developers looking for variances. Sometimes it's business owners, tobacco control, and other. Many nights, although this wasn't the case, you have difficult decisions you have to make. And I respect you, and I really admire you for that, and I appreciate the deliberation and the thoughtfulness that goes into it. I've learned a lot. I can tell you my time, although short in Yarmouth, it's going to help me give a stronger understanding, because I'm going to have, being at the county is responsible for 15 communities across the Cape. I do have an understanding now of what are the struggles and the challenges, not just for the board, but for the staff of for the discipline of public health. It's not well resourced. There are struggles. There's financial struggles. There's staffing struggles. As a discipline, public health is misunderstood. By having this experience, being one of the communities, I hope I can give some added value and strategic planning for the county. And I expect to be back. I expect to be back in a different capacity, but bringing the resources and the help, because that's what the county is looking to do. There's a lot of good things that go on at the county. I've used their dashboard, as you know, for infectious disease. Leah Hamner is there, their epidemiologist. There's a whole host, from IT to public health, the human services. There's a lot goes on at the county, and I see it as it's hidden in plain view. It's a well-kept secret, and I hope I can be part of that to bring that in a significant way to Yarmouth and to the other 15, 14 other communities along the Cape. So I'll be leaving you, but I do want to say sincerely thank you. I'll reach out to Eric directly, but thank you all for the time and the information that you have given me, the patience you've had with me, and understanding. You all have, I mentioned this at the select board the other night. Most of you, Larry being the exception, have 10+ years on this board. A lot of stability.
So did they say it's time for some of them to go?
Not at all. Not at all.
I don't know why.
Not at all.
I thought maybe they hadn't noticed, and that's why we
Well,
were
I
still
mentioned that as, I think that's an attribute. I think that stability on a board, that helps. You have a lot of institutional knowledge and community knowledge. You know what goes on in the community. That's extremely helpful. And I mentioned each one of you by name. So I just sincerely thank you. There's a mix of reflection and gratitude, and I just want you to know, each one of you, thank you. Thank you for your
luck in your new position.
Yeah, thank you for your,
yeah.
you had great energy and just, a lot of luck. It's nice. You're still going to be local?
We'll be local, but I can tell you the only attraction was that they're looking to do, this wasn't two hands on the wheel. We want to just keep it going the way it is. They have a new administrator, Michael Dutton. So a new county administrator came on. They contacted me last summer, and then they put a pause on it because they're bringing in a new county administrator, Michael Dutton, town manager from Middleborough. And so they were designing that to really increase the size and the scale and the reach of the county. So there was some time that held back. So about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, month and a half ago, they said, okay, well, it's time to, the position has been vacant for a little while, to say, okay, what is strategic planning we want to do to increase at the county level? How can we help the communities along the Cape? And I said, well, that's something I could really get my arms around. I would like that because, to be honest with you, when I said, I'm very happy in Yarmouth. It's a good group, it's a good board, it's a good staff. Tell me what you're thinking of doing. And they said, we want to do some strategic planning and increase the scale and the size of the county and the reach and the impact, the branding, really, of Barnstable County. I said, you know what, I would really like to give that a shot. So you're going to be in good hands here. We have a strong a candidate who has been a health director in multiple communities. Has a good temperament for this, good understanding, and I'm confident. I said I'll be the bridge for that. I'm certainly available, and I'll be here when they come. And pretty soon, I'll be good old what's his name within weeks. I understand that, but I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here to help.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Couple of things. I thank you for your equanimity that you brought to the board, I think, at least from my perspective. You brought a tremendous amount of equanimity. I know we've had some back and forths a few times, and you've just kept everything where it should be, and we've got us through it. The other thing is, are you involved at all with the choice of your replacement?
I sat on the.
That's comforting.
I interviewed. There were 3 individuals that we interviewed, Larry, and I originally didn't think that was going to be HR, the town administrator, and actually Mark Grills, who is the department head. I function as a division head, right? Division within inspectional services, and they asked me to be part of that, so I was involved in that.
That was smart on their part.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
so I was, but I appreciate your kind words. You know, it's unusual to think that a group is going to come together and everyone agrees upon something. So good debate gives you a better product, right? Everyone has a different understanding, comes at it from a different lens. I think that's extremely helpful. There's going to be frustrations. There's going to be timelines. There's constraints and limitations that we have as far as capacity. I think that gives you a better product. The last thing you want is everyone to sit around and go, yep, okay, let's go, we're getting out of here. No, you've taken the time on a number of different things. And, I do appreciate what has happened here many times and struggle with, because each of you feel working with the business community, right? I think immediately the tobacco control and the work that has to happen there and the fines that you're put in a difficult situation, the business community, and levying significant fines, and you wrestle with that. But you hold to that and say, no, this is what has to happen. When variances come in for septic and things of that nature, that's costing money for individuals. So we have a responsibility, and you all take that very seriously. I admire that, because I know, again, I'll repeat, I've been in that chair. Those are difficult situations. You don't take the easy path.
Yeah, we've relied on both you and Barry, though, for guidance on a lot of those situations.
Yeah, well, you've
Helpful.
You've come up to speed on a lot of things. You led on our poultry. You led on our avian flu. So we appreciate it. One of the
Continue to do that.
Yep, no question. Just to jump over, and Barry really took the lead on this agenda. But I just didn't know if either Mary or Hilda, did you want to talk a little bit on measles, just so the community understands? As far as that is highly communicable, right? A room can be still infectious 2 hours after an individual with measles come in. Just a little bit of...
It's probably the most transmissible virus there is.
Exactly, right.
And that's not an exaggeration.
No, right.
It's that scary with it. The spread happens so quickly and so easily.
Right.
And we're talking about fatalities. That's prognosis is not good for especially really young infants, and certainly people who are immunocompromised or just older.
Right. The map is growing, right? The footprint is growing.
Yeah, it
I think we're up to
is.
9 states maybe now, right?
Yeah.
Not to set up.
Prognosis can't be too good right now in the sense of it not spreading or being contained. It doesn't seem to be going that way. So very, very scary. You probably know more about this than I do.
Well, no, but the herd immunity is just not there, because in these areas where it's spreading, they have very low vaccination rates.
Right.
And so far, I think all but, maybe 5 of the well over 100 now people have not been vaccinated who have come down with the measles. So
The vaccine is standard one, right? It's MMR, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, standard vaccinations that we've relied on. Has really gotten rid of measles in this country, but it's not working right now if people are not
1960.
getting vaccinated. What year was it? Yeah.
1960, I think, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's been around a long time, and, yeah, it has kept,
Coming out of Washington is that these are just normal occurrences that happens every year,
yeah, right.
according to,
That death is the first since
Secretary of-
2015,
yeah,
yeah. So
just saying.
tell the parents
Yeah.
of that child.
I guess it's this, certainly not, I don't bring that up to create any kind of panic within the community, but they need to be aware, and they need to be paying attention, talking to their primary care, watching their own. Well, let me ask you this. My understanding is it does not hurt to to be revaccinated later on, to get a booster
It does
for this.
not
It
hurt.
does not hurt you.
Correct.
And they're even discussing whether that might become a recommendation
might be
at some
something,
point.
right.
But it doesn't hurt if for some reason you're not sure you had the measles, if you're like my age, or that you had the vaccine, when you were older. But the other thing is that public needs to know this is a safe vaccine. It's been demonstrated that over, what has it been now, 50 years or so? And it's just so important to protect your child. And you're not only protecting your child, but you're protecting other children too, who are around your child. So it's a community effort as well as an individual responsibility.
It's good comments. Good comments, so.
One of the arguments I used to get regularly was such and such a disease, for example, in dogs, that's where I can refer to, or cats, they're very rare. And I used to tell these clients, they're rare because most people vaccinate for it. And it's when they're not so vigilant, that's when we're really going to have an outbreak of these. For example, heartworm. Everybody says, oh, heartworm's not that much of an issue. Well, that's because, 90% of the population keeps their animals on heartworm prevention. If they didn't, I remember when I first started in practice, I didn't have that busy a practice, and I think I saw 60 positive heartworm cases the first year I practiced. I was really at the time when heartworm was just becoming an issue. People weren't on heartworm prevention, and the reservoirs were so much greater that there was so much. If your dog was an outdoor dog, it was almost 100% chance it was going to get heartworm. And it's the same kind of thing. If people get really complacent and aren't vaccinating, that's when you're going to have a real outbreak. And I saw it in my career over and over. And then I saw in my career the benefits. For example, I was around when parvo first came out, and it was devastating. The patients we lost, and we turned that disease off in 1 year just with vaccination. I mean, it was like night and day. We were just overloaded with cases and deaths, and the parvo was devastating and certain breeds more susceptible than others, till the vaccine just eliminated it virtually. And it's almost a zero chance you're going to have a parvo case if your dog's vaccinated properly. And so vaccines, I've just seen the effect of them over 50 years of practice. I have one question for you, though, Mary, because you're involved with this plastic situation.
Right.
I don't know if you were aware of the press conference, the diatribe on plastic straws from the president. Were you
Well,
privy to that?
I was aware of the executive order, and he just pulled out, that's just his own little bugaboo, but he pulled that out from a larger effort that President Biden had initiated toward eliminating plastics in the food chain and the food supply, and certainly around the White House, which I hadn't realized actually until I read about the executive order. I mean, and the president thinks that the paper straws don't work.
There is an
I
executive
can drink
order,
without a
though,
straw
now.
usually anyway, so, to me,
How do you
that's
get
not-
around that?
How do we get around what?
The paper straws.
What do you mean?
Well, it was an executive order to get rid of plastic straws.
No, to get rid of to get
I
rid
mean,
of paper straws.
So
I
the
don't,
back is
I don't use
plastic.
straws, so
Okay, well, that's.
it's
I
not a
mean, you
problem for
Go
me.
into any McDonald's, you're gonna have a straw.
Well, I mean, that's their problem to whether they're going to.
Yes, but that's something we're gonna have to deal with.
There's no question, that'll be happy part of the policy, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Could you let us know when that meeting is?
When the straws come up,
Well, yeah, when the straws come up, but.
when the straw vote,
when the
when we take the
plastics-
straw vote.
Because that's gonna be an issue. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna have to battle with that situation.
I'm not going to, but,
Well,
I must have missed something here.
okay, I'll keep you apprised
Sure.
of what's going on, absolutely, because, I mean, your input is.
well, I mean, I pick up, on my walks, I pick up plastic all the time along the way, and it's
Yeah.
just a shame.
Well, and it's something that, it gets into the ocean, and I have, I volunteered with marine mammals and
Well, it's everywhere.
kill them.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I have something that I should have brought up with the February 3rd meeting minutes, because it said that I would work with Dr. Brock to create a public-facing document, and I never did that. So was I supposed to do something, but I didn't do it? I feel badly.
Mo, what was written?
Remember, we thanked her a lot because it was great. We were excited about it, but I didn't remember that either.
So,
I might have said I'd be willing to help.
yeah, she said that she was gonna work on something for the public.
Uh-huh.
And you had volunteered, hey, if you need some
Okay,
kind of help.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's not
I
like
would-
I didn't kind
No,
of
not
do
actively,
something.
let's sit down and work on
Okay,
something.
thank
It
you.
was like, if you need help,
Thank you.
can you call on me?
Okay.
And I'll do my best to kind of.
Been exonerated, thank you. One other thing, at the RAC meeting, apparently the state people have come out and looked at Bayberry Hills Golf Course, which has been looked at as a secondary place for the effluent to be put from the treatment plant, because the amount that the surrounding area of the treatment plant can take is not going to be enough for the final amounts of effluent that will be produced. And they said that they've now started on the testing of that site, which includes boring test holes, wells, and that the health department was going to be there when the state people came back to check all of those testing areas.
Yes, Mary, on Thursday, they're going to be doing several test holes. They asked me to come out and just witness. They don't want me to witness all of them. The state and DEP is very much in control, doing what they can, but they have asked me to come out and just to get just from the health department stand to be a witness to it. So
Okay,
I'll
good.
probably be in and out of the golf course throughout the day on Thursday.
You gonna bring your clubs?
Well, there's going to be some big holes out there, so
Drivers only.
To hit those, yeah.
There'll be a lot of holes.
they are going to be doing a lot of the testing on the driving range and then a few of the other outlying fairways. So it's
Okay.
going to be a big project. So, and it's free water for the golf course, so it's going to be great.
Well, they're already getting some, but yes, this is a much larger amount, so.
Yep.
How's the financing looking for that? I mean, there was some issue in the Times.
Right.
on
They're not concerned about it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about the bridge?
I don't know about the bridge. I'm not on that committee. But that's certainly was one of my thoughts and fears, that money could be jeopardized. I mean, there's going to be a lot of money.
Unrelated to what we're doing, but still.
No, but, well, yeah. I mean, it is. It certainly could have some ramifications for health, for public health, in terms of transportation, in terms of supplies getting to us and all, as well as evacuation if we ever had to, so, yeah.
No question. We talk about social determinants, right? Access to health care is probably about 25% of a community's health. Those other things where you live, work, and play. economic indications, your housing, your transportation, things of that nature. Those make up about 75% of a community's health.
Emergency evacuation.
All those things factor into it.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
We think of health, some time ago was just access to a primary care physician, and that's only a small portion.
Particularly public health.
Right.
Next meeting, the 17th, okay for everyone? March 17th for next meeting?
Wear your green, wear your green.
Anything else? Well, it's that time? Motion time.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Nice. Second from... So, we have a second coming from somewhere.
Charlie?
Go for it, Charlie.
Okay. All in favor of leaving?
Aye.
Raise your hand, say aye, and the meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.